Hi everyone! Welcome in our channel. Today we're going to talk about how to read an MSDS, a material safety data sheet, but also we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. Before we go ahead, remember to subscribe to our channel, leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. Moving forward with our topic, today we're going to talk about how to read an MSDS, but also how to ship batteries. I prepared a screen sharing already, so we're going to look at the IATA materials, commercial invoices, and battery declarations as well. Let's look into that. We have the lithium battery guidance document for the IATA, from the IATA, so remember that you always need to have the very latest version, same for your safety data sheet documents, which means also the MSDS basically when you're shipping batteries. So Journey for 2021 is 62nd edition. It's going to become different, of course, next year. It's going to be 63, 64, 65, 67, and so on with the year that goes that go by. So basically, for next year should be at least 63 and not 62. But of course, it's sometimes it may be that couriers accept for a longer time an old edition. But generally you should update your MSDS and your test every year. So let's move forward. Generally in this guidance there are definitions, classifications, prohibition, restrictions, additional information and example on how to handle dangerous goods. So dangerous goods are basically products with batteries in this case. So we have two types of batteries. Generally you have the non-rechargeable ones, so lithium metal cells or batteries, and then you have the lithium ion cells, which are also called Li-ion batteries, that you can see here, and they are generally rechargeable. Now you should be careful. Generally they cannot be brought in passenger aircraft, the pure batteries, especially the metal ones. I don't know if it ever happened to you. If you let's say go on a trip, you take a flight, they generally ask you at the check-in if you have any battery in the checked-in luggage. You can bring in the cabin, for example, your power bank, which is also considered, by the way, as a lithium-ion battery. That is like, it's considered as a battery itself, so that's kind of dangerous. So it's actually dangerous, so you can put it and leave it in the checked-in bag. You need to bring it on the cabin, so it can stay in your luggage inside the belly. If something happens and it can, I don't know, turns out to be a fire or something like that, it's quite dangerous. So it's good that you bring it in the cabin. That's why the airlines generally ask you for that. Especially for power banks, and as I said, power banks are considered as batteries, just like pure battery. Overall, you have, let's say, the description of what is a battery, what is a cell. Generally a button cell is something like this. What is a consignment, the net quantity. The net quantity is generally what you mean by the weight or volume on the dangerous goods contained in a package, excluding the weight of the packaging material itself, right? So it's just like what's the dangerous good itself, the quantity. And then the weight of an unpackaged article of dangerous goods. So if you just look at the dangerous goods itself, you know, without any packaging and so on, that's the net quantity. Overall, you have also the overpack. If you overpack, you don't mix dangerous goods, different types of dangerous goods, different dangerous goods with chemicals and all that stuff. You must be careful also on how you pack batteries or products with batteries, add some bubbles or ship it in a box, not in a poly bag, and so on. Then we have also, as you can see here, the power bank. So it's generally like still a test needs to be assigned. It's quite dangerous. Not all airlines or not all carriers accept to ship power banks because, as I said, they're considered as pure batteries. Then the rated capacity is basically the power, in a few words, it's like the capacity of your battery. There are some standards you should meet, of course, when you do the battery checks and run the test. Then you have the classification. So generally there are some tests that classify your batteries. Generally the lithium metal batteries are under the UN 30.9 and the lithium ion batteries is 34.8. So this is a test, it's like a summary like this one. That identifies the type of battery. Then of course there are different results that can come out from the test. So based on the let's say if the battery is inside the equipment or packed within the equipment, you may have different tests. Like in this case, lithium metal batteries, the one we saw earlier here, if they are packed or contained in the equipment, is considered 30.91. If it's pure battery, it should be this one, and then if they are contained in the equipment or packed with equipment, is 34.81, which means that you have your phone, your battery is inside, right? It's contained in the equipment. If you have packed with the equipment, you can look or picture what used to be a phone back in the days, where you had the battery which was separated from the phone, and then you would assemble them and open the phone, turn on the phone. So that's packed with the equipment. It's still, the purpose is to put them together, right? But it's still packed separately in a way, but in the same box. So then basically there are some requirements. Also the test needs to follow certain criteria, right? When you test the battery and you try to, I don't know, you throw it against the wall to see what happens. I mean, it's not going to be like that, but those type of tests, like drop tests or pressure, high temperature, you know, when you buy something, they tell you, oh, don't expose under sunlight, or keep it, you know, with the low humidity, in low humidity, let's say, locations and so on. Don't drop it, don't hit it, and don't burn it, and so on. That's the purpose. So the criteria and the test should have at least those, let's say, elements, which is, for example, the name of the cell, the type of battery, the name of the laboratory, phone numbers, emails, address. It needs to be, let's say, very clear. So if anyone needs to contact them, can. The test identification number, every test should have a different number, so that of course I can, let's say, identify which test it was, for which product, and so on. The date, the type of description, the mass, the watt-hour rating, physical description of the cell, let's say how it look like, the model numbers of the batteries, list of tests conducted, if they passed, if they failed. Of course, if they fail, you need to do it again. Reference for the testing, let's say, requirements for the assembled battery, revised edition, which edition you follow to do the test, to perform the test. So as we said earlier, there's the 62nd edition for this year MSDS, and in this case there is also an edition for the type of test you need to run and what are the criteria. And then of course signature name and so on of the laboratory. So moving forward, we have some charts here, like lithium-ion batteries. Of course, if the test doesn't pass, you have to redesign your batteries, your test, I don't know. You have to basically check again, because it means something is wrong and you can't ship products containing those type of batteries if they fail the test. So if they did not fail, they actually passed. We have different classifications here. So lithium-ion, we're going to take in consideration lithium-ion batteries because they're the most common nowadays. In a way, so we have lithium-ion batteries contained in the equipment, which can be, let's look at an example of the phone, you know, the battery is inside, so contained in the equipment. And if the cell, of course, those information, you're going to find them in the MSDS as well, so the description of what was the cell that is used for one phone, you know, for example. So if it's above 20 watt or 100 watt and below 20 or below 100, there are different type of handlings. If it's above, you need to, it's section 1 instead of section 2 packing instructions. So we have the UN that we saw earlier. It's the same if it's packed within the equipment. It's the VAT that changed the rate capacity basically. But of course there are different rules on how to pack them. So PI 967, it's packing instruction 967. PI 967 identifies lithium-ion batteries contained in the equipment, which means that, as I said, like a phone that has the battery inside. Section 1 and Section 2 depends on the, let's say, the power of the battery, if it's above or below the 20 and 100 watt. And then the limit per package, you have the limit of, let's say, batteries that you can have, you know, per package, let's say the weight, and you have the sticker that you need to attach to the box. So generally for little products, let's say one product or one phone chip or one whatever, it's just this label. You can ship up to 5 kilograms of batteries per package, and then basically section 2 and section 3 depends on just the capacity in a few words, but they're still PI 967 because they're both contained in the equipment. So you stick the sticker if you basically meet those requirements for the type of battery and the rate. And then use those in case section 2 is you use the sticker, you have those limitations per package, and you have those let's say requirements to meet. And then we go back to the other side. It's PI966, which is packed with equipment. It's basically still a battery, lithium-ion battery, packed with equipment but not contained, but it's in the same box in a way. So same rule above, below, but since those are packed with equipment and not within the equipment and not contained in the equipment, those are called PI966. Same logic, section 1 and section 2, it depends on the rated capacity. And you have the sticker, same as here. If you meet those requirements, you have the sticker if you meet those requirements. And also you still have the limitation of 5 kilograms or 35 and 5 kilograms here, limit per package based on the rated capacity. And then we have lithium-ion batteries limited to a maximum of 30% of, let's say, battery charge. And here also depends how dangerous they are considered and how many stickers you need to attach. I'm not going to spend too much time here. Generally, this is like airlines, like commercial airlines. This is forbidden AC. And then like passenger aircraft. Of course, you have different rated capacities with the different, let's say, section 1B, section 2, section 1A. It depends on the limit per package, how many stickers, and so on. So you see here it's quite detailed, and of course if you're shipping a power bank you should be aware of that. And then you have lithium metal batteries, same story. You always have with the equipment, contained in the equipment, packed with the equipment, pure battery. So it's 970 if it's contained in the equipment, the metal battery. It's 969 section 1 or 2 based on rating, rated capacity, and based on if it's inside the equipment or not. So there are basically two things you should take in consideration when we talk about let's say packing instructions, and if you are forbidden or not to ship such products with those batteries. It's based on the rated capacity, and it's based on how it's packed. Basically pure battery, packed, contained in the equipment, or packed with equipment. So there are three types: pure batteries, contained in the equipment or packed with equipment, and the rated. So two variables in a way that then they're gonna set some restrictions and limitation in, okay, can we ship it into passengers air flights, or which sticker we need to attach, or how many we can ship per package. So those two variables, how they're packed and also the rated capacity, are going to, let's say, establish in a way. They're gonna tell us which sticker we need to attach, how we need to ship it, and how we can ship it basically. So you have here like the prohibitions and some restrictions and some more information about how to pack batteries and ion batteries. So we're gonna look into that right now. Prohibitions: lithium-ion batteries shipped by themselves are forbidden to transport as cargo on passenger aircrafts. All packages prepared in accordance with the PI965, which means a power bank, must bear on cargo aircraft only label, so that people can recognize that, oh, I can put those batteries on a passenger aircraft, right? So there are those type of let's say information and requirements that must be met. Restrictions, of course: lithium-ion cells batteries must be shipped with a state of charge not exceeding 30%. Just for UN 34.80, which means pure batteries, may only be shipped with approval. If it's above 30%, you can only ship with approval of the state of origin, state of operator, and so on. And then packing instructions for basically pure batteries. They must not be packed in the same outer packages with dangerous goods like explosives and other stuff. So this is basically power banks and or like pure metal batteries or lithium batteries. Section 1 or section 2. Then there are frequently asked questions here, but overall, how to safely pack lithium batteries. Lithium batteries, you always have, if you pack it by themselves, you always should have, let's say, a layer. If you put more than two, you should make sure that there's at least, let's say, one layer that differentiates both. You see here the sticker, and of course would protect that in this case, you know, it's the battery itself, right? But generally when you ship your product inside a very good strong packaging, let's say retail box inside, then and a carton box like this, that's fine, you know. But you have some additional descriptions here, how the components, I mean, quite technical to be honest, how to safely pack lithium batteries. This is if it's just for batteries, for examples. How can batteries be effectively protected against short circuit? It's basically how you pack them. Then if you're using section 2, then what is like another way instruction to pack it. You have it here. What does the lithium battery mark look like? It's like that. So we saw it already in the former video. Basically, you need to have the UN number here. You see, place the UN number, blah, 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 and then place the telephone number of the shipper. So if your manufacturer ships to your fulfillment center, it's one phone number. When your fulfillment center ships the products to your final customer, it's another phone number, because you need someone else, someone else is shipping, right? So it's responsible for packing the product. So this label should be changed. Of course, if it's smaller packages, can I use a smaller battery mark? No. Maximum you can do is 100 millimeters per 70 millimeters. This is 100 per 100. So you see, it's not so small. The alternative is you use a bigger packaging. That's it, because it needs to be quite visible. And it needs to be exactly the same with the red and white stripes, the battery exactly like this. When the battery mark is not required, for packages prepared in accordance with section 2, PI 967, containing on the bottom cells starting the equipment, or consignment of 2 packages on rest where each package contains no more than 4 cells or 2 batteries installed in the equipment. So in a few words, if you have less than 2 iPads, I don't know, something like that, in one box, up to 2, you should, and it's up to 4 cells, then inside equipment, which means, you know, the iPad as it is, for example, if you have less than 2, then up to 2, then you can ship it without the sticker, or if it's containing only bottom cell batteries installed in the equipment, basically that's why you can basically skip it. Overall, you must always affix this if it's more than that. Also, the waybill, which means the shipping label, needs to contain this writing. So be careful when you ship and make sure that you have the right, let's say, also statement on the shipping label, because if you don't have, let's say, the sticker because you comply with this part, then you still need to have anywhere this writing. Lithium, if it's an ion battery, in compliance with section 2 of, if it's a PI 967, you write here PI 967 and so on. And this is when actually, the lithium battery is affixed to the package. So if you have this, then you should have also on the waybill something like that written, actually exactly the same. You just need to change ion or metal and the section. And then you have some more questions here, some more information, packing instructions, the requirement for the phone number, and so on. Of course, you have the net quantity per package, passenger aircraft, net quantity per package on cargo aircraft only. So generally, I mean, couriers will always tell you 5 kilograms of lithium-ion batteries contained in the equipment. So it's maximum 5 kilograms per package, basically. As per their instruction, it says that the net quantity shown exclude the weight of the equipment. So you should consider just the net quantity of the battery that is contained in the equipment. For section 1, if you should declare gross weight or net weight and so on, any limitations, so you can read those frequently asked questions. You have pretty much everything you need in order to ship it. You also have more information about the definition of consignment, of the household waybill or master waybill, and so on. Adapter, Bluetooth, rated questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and just skip this. We have some UN tests. So this is an example lithium cells or battery test summary, where you see altitude test, if it passed or not. So it's altitude simulation, thermal test, vibration shock, eternal short circuit, impact crash, overcharge, force discharge. So if everything went fine, basically, you have the information and so on, the date, the revision number, test hours, and so on, which test is that, the revision 3, amendment 1, so everything that we discussed earlier. So product test information, you see here you have the product test information. The battery is like 0.035. The watt-hour rating is 6.25, so it's below the 20 that we saw. And then you have the test report number and the test report date, model number, so everything should be very clear. Then you have the test summary, so description of the cell, battery, below 20, you see, and then you have the test lab, product manufacturer, and some more. The tested performance that passed, the edition, 6 revised edition, signature, and so on. So this is battery transportation information. So this is still cell, let's say cell summary. You can see it also like that. The classification, this is a metal battery, so you can have more information here, and the abbreviation, the meaning, and so on. Then we see on how also now we're going to see how we let's say read a shipping declaration, because when you sell more than 2 units, let's say of iPads, for example, then you have to have the shipping declaration. I take the iPad, but any product that has a battery contained in the inside. If more than 2, we said we need to stick the label and so on. You also need a shipping declaration, and we're going to look into that right now. This shipper declaration from TNT website, just to give you an example, this is the template they provide. So when you ship batteries more than 2, generally products, PN667, inside one box, generally you should have a shipper declaration too. So you see here shipper declaration for section 2 lithium cells, which can be either metal or lithium batteries. Of course, you need the date when you're shipping, or the date when you created the declaration. Generally, you should ship the same day or next day maximum. Shipment details, you have the tracking number if you ship with just a courier, otherwise if you ship with a forwarder, you have some more information here. Shipper consignee information, generally as per shipping label or a waybill. And then you have battery type, the IATA limitations, piece, and net weight. So we have the battery type that you need to pick. So which one is that? Let's say in our case, it's a PN667 batteries contained in the equipment. So this is if below the 20 and 100, let's say watt, and you tick one of the 2, and you go with let's say the net weight per package, quantity per package of the battery, which is I don't know, 0.030, and then you have how many pieces, so 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and of course it's going to be below the net battery weight, otherwise they won't accept it, of 5 kilograms per package. Then you have also the lithium ion or lithium metal battery, section 2, blah blah blah. So basically here you need to tick which one is that. The lithium ion batteries in our case, PN967 for example. If we tick this one, you still have to, let's say, restate it here, and then any special instructions, you should mention the MSDS, let's say the MSDS reference, let's say number. You can copy this line, for example, telephone number of the shipper, remarks, any remark, and full name. Generally there's also a signature. So this is, as simple as that, basically the shipping declaration. And it's when you ship it more than, let's say, 2, sometimes like even for any battery, any product, even just one. But that's basically, those are basically the requirements. You have the DG label, you need to stick on it. It depends on how many batteries and so on. You need the writing on the waybill that we saw earlier. You need a shipper declaration in some cases. So you need quite some stuff, you know, to ship. And at the same time, you also need to make sure that you pack it right, that your identification PN6766 is correct. So you need to declare it correctly. So I suggest you contact an expert, a IATA certified, let's say, expert to help you with that. You shouldn't take my words today as the only source of truth. It really depends on your battery, your case. So maybe I explain you well, maybe you didn't get it. So don't do it by yourself. There are, of course, certified people that are supposed to do that, resolve those problems for you. So you should look for an expert in case you have troubles, and don't take this video as the only source of truth. This is just to inform you how it, you know, you can read, let's say, the MSDS, the instructions, what each, let's say, row or packing instruction means, and also what is a shipper declaration, the DG label, and so on. So that's to give you a general understanding on how it works when you're shipping, let's say, products that contain batteries or packed with batteries. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, a comment, and to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.